Is it?
Very often.
Morning. We want to welcome you this morning to this Drainage District Board of Directors meeting for today, March the 11th, 2014. President, our Commissioner Cuellar, Precinct 1, Palacios, Precinct 4, and myself, we have a quorum. First item is open forum. Ms. Virginia Townsend.
Good morning.
Morning, ma'am.
You know, we just got through with a contentious election, and everybody is still talking, but it doesn't matter where I go. They are talking about the contract with Integ. I mean, I get asked, and it becomes very personal because they said, where were you all? Weren't you there 6 years ago, 7 years ago? Weren't you there? Didn't you pay attention? And I have to say, I'm sorry, I've never read the contract. I don't know. And Godfrey, I just put in a request, and he graciously gave me one this morning, so I will be reading it, but I'm not sure I can interpret it right either. But it's not setting well with our taxpayers. They're not going to be quiet about it. They're still concerned. So I hope all of this today makes everything very clear, and we get some clarification on how and everything, how it was interpreted. Thank you.
All right, next item is approval of our consent agenda.
We have the check register, and we have item number 2 from the consent. We are going to wait till we receive information from the engineer to finalize those payments.
All right.
Move for approval,
Second.
Just for the record, are you pulling item 2?
except for item 2.
Except for item 2.
And those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Item 4,
Item 4, discussion, consideration, and appropriate action to assign the supervision, excuse me, financial operation of Hidalgo County Drainage District Number 1 and to include all financial related slot positions to the Board of Directors of the district.
Judge and Commissioner, obviously, we don't have a full board, but there's some legal concerns to item number 4 right now. If it pleases the court, I'd like for Steve Crane to identify maybe some potential issues to this item.
Judge, Commissioners, the way this item is read, it says to assign the supervision of the financial operations of the district to the Board of Directors. I don't think you want it assigned to the Board of Directors. That would mean that the Board of Directors would have to manage the day-to-day financial affairs and also would potentially have the liability of those financial affairs.
for what kind of liability?
The potential liability for any types of mistakes in the financial affairs of the district. Because of the way this agenda item reads, is you have the Board of Directors, in effect, being the financial officer.
So how do you think it should read if what we want to do is have that particular position to report directly to the district drainage board?
I would think that first you would assign those duties strictly to that position and then state that position reports to the Board of Directors.
But don't we have enough language in there that we can do it today?
Well, what you're saying is you're assigning the supervision of the financial operations to the Board of Directors
Rather than the individual.
rather than to the individual.
Rather than to what individual?
To the individual slot of who is going to be in charge of financial operations.
Not sure if I agree with you there, Steve. I mean,
I think you could possibly still, I think there's enough notice on the agenda. I think you could fashion a motion today to accomplish what you want to accomplish.
well, why don't you tell us what that motion is and, read it or tell it to us and then we'll go ahead and act on it.
I think it would be assign the supervision of the financial operation of the drainage district to the financial officer and that the financial officer report directly to the Board of Directors of the district.
Judge, I'd entertain that motion.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Under item B is approval to create a budget officer for the district. What I'm requesting for the board to consider, since the district will no longer have a financial officer to run the day-to-day operations, that the board consider authorizing the creation of a budget officer, and if the board wishes, we will come back with the formal documentation of the board at the next meeting.
So the financial officer is going to run day-to-day operations of the district?
Sir, let the board speak. If you want to speak, please come over here.
I'm asking the judge.
I understand,
Yeah.
but you're not part of the board.
Well, but he can ask
I'm
questions,
asking the
Godfrey. I
judge,
mean,
not asking you,
You
sir.
can come over here, Judge.
I'm sorry, what was that question?
He was saying that the financial officer is going to see oversee the day-to-day operations of the district. That's what I was wondering. That's not what the individuals wanted to do, right? Only the financial operations.
The financial officer, we have a list of her responsibilities. I'm not sure if that's what's included. But Laura, do you interpret your duties to be overseeing the financial operations day to day?
Yes.
Okay, all right. That's what I wanted to hear,
All right.
because I thought he meant the...
Thank
And
you,
there's
ma'am.
individuals that would be under me as
Aren't you
well.
involved in budgeting also? I mean, I read the list of your responsibilities, and I thought that you were, one of those was to be involved in the budget process.
Yes, I do the budget during the months of July through September. That's included as one of my duties.
Well, okay, you've been there a while. Do you feel we need a budget officer?
We are in need of additional accountants and budgetary, so, I mean, duties could be shifted to that person, and that would allow us to audit more in detail.
More what?
We could shift duties to that budget officer, and then it would allow us, the
To
current
audit.
positions, to do the auditing that we need to do. The other item is that the district is growing, and we do have those interlocal with the RMA. We have potential monies coming from the Texas Water Development Board. I do foresee that we need to increase the staff. And of course, in speaking with the district liaison, he did mention that we would have communications.
Judge, and we sat, and similar to how the county operates, we feel that this individual will help them with forecasting future budgets. It will allow Ms. Briones to focus on the auditing aspect of, ultimately, that's what our ultimate goal is, to assure that there's checks and balances. So we believe that this position is critical to the readjustment of how they're going to be operating.
All right.
I'd like to make a motion for approval of 4B.
Second.
And is that budget officer going to be under the financial officer or under the district manager?
What we believe should be under the district manager, being the fact that they're going to be anticipating their budgets, future budgets, working alongside with current projects, along with working with the auditor. In no way are any of the administrative staff not going to be working together. That's not what we're trying to do here. We're just trying to develop more transparency and accountability. So we believe that this person will have a role. Yeah, the immediate role would be with the district manager alongside working with the auditor as well, validating all the financial matters of the district.
All right. We had some motions? All right, those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Item 5,
Item 5, it was placed by your office, Judge. I'll divert to whoever from your office placed it, or I can present it to the board.
I think Valdez is going to present that one.
Okay.
Judge, yes, Commissioners, you have discussion, consideration, possible action to create the position of Drainage District Director. I think in the last few court sessions, there's been discussion with respect to a position. This would be the first step, since the position technically does not exist under the Drainage District salary schedule. I mean, the function exists through Mr. Godfrey Garza, but the position in and of itself does not exist under Drainage District, and therefore, this would be the first step that the court or that the board would undertake.
Okay, we create this, Valde. Will this take in effect January 1st of next year?
This will take effect whenever the board gives a effective date.
The funding is there, Valde?
That would be the next step, Mr. Eufrasio. I mean, and just so that everybody knows, I've always made an argument that it would be presumptuous on anyone's part to allocate funding prior to any action against that funding. So this is the first step. This step is taken. Then the funding is the next step, or is the...
We're already out in the process of trying to determine what those responsibilities and duties of that director are going to be. And you've been working on that aspect of it.
I'm sorry, Judge?
You've been working on the duties and responsibilities?
There's, Mr. Jaime Longoria presented me with a couple of descriptions. Obviously, they need to be vetted by the board.
Yeah, Judge,
It's all set.
if it pleases...
Jaime? I'm sorry, Commissioner, you want to
Well,
say?
Judge, I think we're all on the same sheet of music, but I think it's premature at this point. The board hasn't reviewed the format of the job description, nor have we been able to evaluate...
Well, we're not going to vote on it. He's just going to report on what they're doing.
Okay, well,
Absolutely. What we've done is we took the job descriptions that were presented previously, Commissioner, and we've worked with that. We've picked up some of the comments that different folks have made. The Citizens Advisory Committee had kind of had a little discussion, general discussion, not specifically on the job description, but kind of what they were looking for. And in our office, we put together two different versions of job descriptions again. What our intent is, there is going to be a meeting of the chiefs of staff this week, is again, present that to the chiefs of staff, get some input from them, and then continue the process. But my understanding in talking to Mr. Guerra was the first step was to create the position, and then we could bring the job description back to you all for approval, of course.
But you're including the chiefs of staff of all the commissioners and
We will, yes, sir.
Mr. Garza?
Yes, sir. We will.
Thank you, sir. All right, item 6.
There's no action on that one, Judge?
No action.
Discussion on the fees paid to Intech from the 2006 bond issue fund. This relates to that contract that has been talked about here in the open forum. I was looking at the contract, and the 2007 contract is the one that I guess we relied on and you relied on to get paid the commission, the February 2007 contract. Am I correct?
I don't have it in front of me, Judge. I would assume so.
Right?
Is that the one Atlas and Hall drew up?
That was the one that was prepared by the law firm, submitted to the board,
By who?
by Atlas and Hall. And we have the documentation there where it was drafted by Atlas and Hall.
And who negotiated that contract?
We've gone through the audio and the visual, Judge, and it was presented to the board of directors at that time. We had J.D. Salinas, the county judge. We had Commissioner Tito Palacios, Commissioner Sylvia Handy, Commissioner Joe Flores, Commissioner Oscar Garza. So we have the audio where the contract was presented and discussed in public with all the board, and the motion made by Commissioner Tito Palacios for the approval of that
No, I
contract.
said who negotiated it? Because by the time it came to the board, it was already typed up.
Yes, sir.
I'm assuming somebody in advance negotiated the terms of the contract.
I would say that Commissioner Oscar Garza, since he's with the liaison officer, and I believe if you look at the audio and video, you'll see that Commissioner Garza made all of the clarifications on that contract in the public forum, or in the public court.
All right. And in looking at the contract, the way it reads, it's that compensation should be made for the construction management of the Hidalgo County Master Drainage System Phase 2, that the district shall pay Intech, which is your company, on a semi-annual basis commencing August 1st of 2007, 1.5% of the actual construction cost, excluding land acquisition costs of the Hidalgo County Master Drainage System Phase 2, as calculated by the financial officer of the district. Now, about a week or 2 weeks ago, we talked about, what does the term or the words actual construction cost mean? Do they include engineering fees or not? And that was an issue, and I believe you said that that would be subject to interpretation. And, we could interpret actual to mean the actual construction of the project versus the plans to be used and relied upon to construct the project. And that would be a matter of interpretation, and the way it was interpreted by whomever, back when a check was cut, they determined that everything related to the project was to be calculated. That's basically what happened.
Yes, sir.
But then we look at the other language, and this is the one I would like to focus on. Construction management of the Hidalgo County Master Drainage System Phase 2 projects. See, my concern, and I just cannot understand how a border wall, construction of a border wall could be determined to be a part of our Hidalgo County Master Drainage System. To me, especially in 2007, when all these discussions were had between yourself and the court, the border wall didn't even come into anybody's mind until 2008, after the economic downfall that the country had and the American Recovery Act dollars came into play. And therefore, I don't feel, and I do not believe that the border wall is a part of the Master Drainage System Phase 2 projects that the county, by contract, stated that they were going to be compensating you. That's 1.5% commission. What would your position be, or what is your position as to what makes this border wall a part of this master drainage system?
When the bond issue was put out for the citizens to vote on and approve, the levy that we constitute or commenter made a border wall, because the original implication was to recertify the levies. The levy itself was listed on the bond issue and shown as an exhibit of the master plan.
Well, the levee improvements, as I understand it, that, from what I was reading, was that that had to do with anything that connected to the levees. Any particular canal or ditch or whatever we call it, that we owned, that was part of our county system, when it connected to the levees, we had to go out there and improve it. And we set aside $10 million.
And it was not a connection, Judge, it was the actual levee itself. If you go back and look at the plans or the exhibit that was put out, it was the actual levee itself. It was not a connection to the levee.
Yes.
I believe this should be put in executive session, and we need to visit and really sit down with the attorneys and see,
Yeah,
instead of doing this.
And I agree with Commissioner Flores. I mean, I think in the last discussion, we asked for an interpretation of the contract by our legal counsel, who had been present since '06, who understands the contract and was here present. I think we need to be advised legally. I don't think there's a dispute that the board is looking at assuring that everything was done correctly, but it's going to require a lot of input from our legal counsel that.
Well, Steve, I understood you had indicated earlier at another meeting that these discussions would not be proper in executive session because we're dealing with a corporation.
It depends upon where this discussion is going.
Yeah, well, I got no problem with doing it in executive session. I just want to get it done.
You know, I feel that we should get all our attorneys and whoever's involved in this, and, you know, we have an hour or so to look at it and bring it back to open court. Explain to them what really happened.
Okay. I got no problem with that. If it's legal, can we do that legally, Steve?
Find out, Steve.
Well, again, the question is, for what purpose are we doing it? That determines whether we get.
Well, we're trying to determine, at least I believe, that we're trying to determine whether or not we properly compensated Intech for work that was properly contracted for them to perform.
So in other words, this could lead to
Then it would be-
potential
It'd
litigation.
be under consultation with attorney.
All right? Well, okay, we'll put it under executive. Can we do that today? Is there anything in our item that can allow us to do that today?
Yes, we could do it today.
All right. Then we'll go ahead and discuss this in executive. Let's go ahead and proceed then, Mr. Garza, to item number 7.
Yes, sir. Update on rehabilitation and/or construction of river levee at the Edinburgh Pump Station Irrigation District Number 1. We have some representatives here from Irrigation District Number 1 to give the board an update of where they're at. We had the opportunity to meet with the IBWC, Department of Homeland Security, last Friday in discussions of what can be constructed and what's going to be constructed in a timely manner. Ms. Yolanda Chopra from the judge's office was there, so I believe she briefed the judge on the discussion that took place. I believe at the end of the day, what came out of the meeting was that the IBWC commissioner would like a letter from the judge indicating what the Hidalgo County, or what Hidalgo County wanted to do. If they wanted to support the issue of building the levee the way they had it planned, that could take a couple of years, or if they wanted to switch over and just elevate the existing levee and participate or talk with Irrigation District Number 1 on the pump house. So basically at this point, the Irrigation District is here to make a presentation to the board and give you all a status of where they're at with the Irrigation District pump house there in Peñitas. Mr. Rusty McDaniels and their engineers here.
Hi, good morning, Judge.
Any
Commissioners.
questions? Go ahead, sir.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Isaiah Posadas with SDI Engineering. I'm here on behalf of the Irrigation District. We also have here Mr. Rusty McDaniel. He's the General Manager for the district. We've got a presentation, slide presentation for the board's consideration. First of all, the reason we're here is because the Irrigation District actually happens to be the owner of the property that's been in the news lately, the gap in the border wall, border levee. Obviously, this was a project that's been in the works for the last 3 to 5 years, and it has significantly impacted our district in its construction and the planning. So we felt, because of the recent talks, that it was important for us to explore our views or express our views to the board. But first of all, we wanted to let you know that the significance of this pump station, first of all, is not for the purposes of drainage. It's really for the purposes of irrigation and delivery of municipal waters to cities, to the tune annually of about 6.5 billion gallons of water just for drinking purposes. With our contracts with the City of Edinburgh, City of McAllen, North Alamo Water Supply Corporation, Sherryland Water Supply Corporation that we currently have, that is what its intended purpose. Aside from that, we've got over 70,000 acres of farmland that we provide for Edinburgh, 100% of District 15, District 13. So, and we're in a position because we've got 26 miles of canal that goes from Peñitas all the way out to Edinburgh. We've also got potential interconnects with, for instance, extending as far east as Donna Irrigation District, which is a project we're currently undertaking. We also serve as the only backup to United Irrigation District because we've got a location, a physical location where both canals cross. And United Irrigation District, as you may well know, also serves the City of Mission and City of McAllen. So this is a very significant structure. It's not just a pump house to just pump waters that don't do much and just do farmland. It provides a service much more to our county. We also, just so you know, is upstream of the Anzalduas Dam, which means that in times of drought, which we have been in the last few years, it's virtually the last place that runs out of water. And we're also upstream of a lot of the industrial areas between Mexico and the United States, which means our water quality also is significantly better than downstream. Right here, what we did, we're showing a slide indicating two pictures. The first one, the one above, this is our pump house here at Peñitas. About a quarter mile south of us is the Rio Grande River over here on the right-hand side of this picture. The way we operate right now, we've got an earthen channel that basically provides water from the river down to our pump station. And the earthen channel is significant because in times like we've had in the last 5 years with drought, that river normally runs at 104, an elevation of 104. In the last 2 or 3 years, we've been averaging down to 102, which is significant in our business. And we've gotten as far down as 98, which really hampers our operation. And what we are able to do, because we've got an earthen channel, is we're able to dredge out that channel and basically chase the water from the river out to our pump station. So it keeps us operational. What happened when the border wall came in, and you'll see it down here on this picture, you see where it ends on the east side and also on the west side. There's this 450-foot gap in between. This is a picture taken in 2013, an aerial photo, where it shows during its construction they were bypassing the channel in order to build in this area right in here. The problem is, during those 2 years that they were damming up the water in order to get construction going, it caused a significant impact on our pump station. There was a lot of sedimentation that came from the operation, where the district in 2 years has spent nearly $2 million of a $2 million annual budget to deal with the effects of the construction. So what happened is this project lagged because they found some unsuitable soils, unstable soils here. They weren't able to get the last portion or the box culverts in effectively. What we have here, this is a blow up. Now that here recently we've been talking about getting the border wall, border levee back and certifying the levee and bringing it up to par. They want to go back to the original plan, which looks something like this. We just overlaid on the aerial the plans that were submitted to the IBWC. And as you can see here, these are the box culverts that they had a lot of issues in setting, which, by the way, from our understanding, this has not been redesigned yet. They are, in our meetings with IBWC and Department of Homeland Security last week, they're still negotiating the terms of that contract to address the unstable soils. That's still an issue now. Now, what we understood is that because this is a 2 to 3 years away from even construction because of budget shortfalls or timing for monies, that the county was entertaining going back and expending nearly $800,000 to temporarily solve the problem. Since you can't really wait 2 to 3 years, if we were to have a catastrophic hurricane and such, we'd be back to square one and we'd be left exposed. So that's where we came in. We said, you know, if the county is willing to spend money to temporarily do something, what that temporary measure would do is effectively keep our pump station on the flood side. And of course, that is of grave concern to us, not just to us, but also to the people that we serve. which affects over 160,000 people, residential places that utilize the water. So what we're proposing is that the county consider basically going back to the original levee, which is still pretty much intact, give or take 6 or 7 feet. But the weakness in all this has been discussed previously, is that this building is about 60 years old and has been a sore spot for, whether or not it can hold up to the waters and such. The district has already expended a lot of money to shore up the building. It survived the last 2010 Hurricane Alex, where the waters came within 3 feet of Hurricane Beulah levels. We were able to get past that. And what we're asking the district is to consider looking at this as a shorter, less expensive way of doing or completing the project that would basically solve the problem as a permanent solution, not a temporary one. We estimate that shoring up the building, if we're getting to an interlocal with the county, that the building may be upwards $800 to $1 million worth of expense to fix it, to make sure that it works. It only requires about 5 feet of raising it. We've already done, like I said, a lot of the work there. The work that's to be done out here, now that is something that's a lot of earth moving that would have to take place, but certainly less than what the IBWC is proposing. And certainly if we use either local funds, can be expedited that much further. Now, when we presented this last week to the Department of Homeland Security and the IBWC, of course, it's not without its challenges if you're going to use federal funds. You've got to go get we understand the red tape, which includes environmental clearances. You've got to get the budget amended because this route hasn't been approved. So there were a lot of reasons to go back to the original, but the timelines in our discussions with them would be the same as the $8 million project. So we don't have the money ourselves to go in and shore it up. We are asking the county to consider, if you are looking to spend some money, that it be done, in our opinion, in a wiser way that protects the integrity of a building that is not just a building for ourselves, but a building for the county. So that's really the main.
What is the amount that you're thinking the project estimate is, cost-wise?
The project on the building alone, we estimate, is upwards around $800,000 to possibly $1 million. Now, we haven't gone in and designed it. Part of the things we talked about last week with the IBWC and Homeland Security is getting a 404 permit through the Army Corps of Engineers, getting clearances, environmental clearances, but this may or may not be required if you're not going to use federal funds. So if you're using local funds, use this amount of money, less than $1 million, where we could, the district and the irrigation district and the drainage district or the county were to work together, we could possibly get it done. But more importantly was the timing. If we were to use local funds, we were to use local equipment like we've done on many other projects, there is that possibility that we can get it done before the end of the year and not wait for the 2 to 3 years with the risk of federal funds not becoming available to us here. So, there's a lot of challenges, of course, but, the irrigation district didn't want to take it upon ourselves to go in and design a structure to hold up. Our work is not to hold back floodwaters. It's to provide, waters for farming and for municipal use. We're just asking the county to see, we'll provide whatever we can reasonably to the district by way of easements, by way of possible funding or reviews of engineering plans and such, to look at this as a viable option.
How many yards of dirt you figure will take for this year?
We haven't done the calculations of the yards of dirt, but you're looking at raising a levee only about 6 to 7 feet. The existing levee that is still there, the one that is still at an elevation that could have survived the Hurricane Alex releases, compared to 15 to 25 feet that are out here on the original plan. And there is borrowed material, from what we understand from the IBWC people, there is borrowed material that was removed. When they basically put this back to its original, all the borrowed material was placed at a certain location on our property, which could also be utilized. Plus, we understand from the city of Peñitas that the county is working with them on some other detention areas in the area that could utilize this place as a
That's that dirt
final
over
site.
by Sullivan City, right? The high clay contents? Yeah.
Yes, sir, is what we understand.
Are you proposing that we share in the construction cost?
We could, but it's something that we'd have to take before before our board. Certainly, if there is a component on the construction that would require, for instance, the certification of a flood levee, if it requires that the building be shored up to a significant degree because of whatever comes out of, we're not in the business of holding back floodwaters. This structure has been there 60 years. It's held up. It held up during Hurricane Alex. We've done work already on our own nickel to come in here and fix it. But certainly would ask, the level of participation would have to be discussed with our board if that is a desire of a partnership here. So that is our presentation. Certainly, myself or Mr. McDaniel are available.
The 800,000, was that that limited to the upgrading, working on the building itself, or did that cover the building and the levees on each side?
We think it'd be the building. We think it may be the building now that we've had the discussion with getting it permitted to the degree that you need it for your purpose of certification.
Going to be using the same pumps and everything, or?
The pumps there, we would utilize the same pumps. Those are actually brand-new pumps. The irrigation district has, since the 2010 incident, Hurricane Alex, everybody came together and we got a lot of riprap put into the channel at one point. Well, all that riprap ended up in our pumps after the event was over, and we ended up having to replace about $800,000 of pumping equipment, which is still an ongoing project for us. We've already invested heavily on this with those pumps that are there.
Our concern was trying to do something that would help protect us during this next hurricane season.
Yes, sir.
And what you're saying, this would take about to the end of the year.
It could be less depending on you have earth moving capabilities that, unlike a lot of other parts of the country, I think Precinct 4 is doing a lot with their detention areas, and certainly the amount of dirt required here could certainly be expedited.
The only problem, Judge, is while they're building, the construction's going on, what if there's a hurricane coming in?
Yeah.
Could this structure, the pumps, be built somewhere on a skid unit and then moved in while it's under construction?
Could we relocate the pump station? No, this actually, all the infrastructure around here is built for, all of the 26 miles of canal, everything that we do is wholly dependent on where this structure is. Now, we haven't had any problems with the building. It is an older building, but it is a building that is on solid ground. We know that. It didn't shift during the 2010, didn't shift during Hurricane Beulah. We've had really no substantial damage other than cosmetic. And in 2010, when it was tested with the floodwaters that we had then, it survived. The only weakness was really the levees on the sides, which is what we ended up shoring up with the rest of the.
What if we go in there and put like the firewall, a fire wall type levee on there and inside with concrete instead of building it up? How much would it cost?
Well, as far as the building itself, not a problem. The reason that we're saying it requires a 5.5 feet is because that is the elevation that the district has told us would be required to certify the levee, so that you can either get your reimbursement or your certification of the levee. That's the reason. It's never gotten.
Like the fence that cement slab on it,
Yeah.
and just continue. I don't know how much it would cost, but all the way through it, and then once you build it up, just build up some dirt behind it.
Mm-hmm.
That'll take you from building.
Continue it where, Joe, here?
Yeah, remember that when we were there last time, that they were hauling dirt?
Yeah.
If you look at the fence, they've got that concrete all the way and it stops. I don't know how much it'll cost us to go ahead and continue all the way west around that pump house stuff.
When you say around, you're talking about coming to the back?
Right where it's at right now. The way he's got it there. Just on the inside of the levee, wouldn't it work?
Godfrey, have you reviewed this plan? You reviewed this plan already.
I've looked at it, Commissioners, and I think what they're indicating there, the most cost-effective way would be to bring the earthen levee back to the pump house and to raise the 4 feet or whatever they need on the front wall.
Yeah.
And that would be the most economical way, I believe, and the most permanent way. And the reason I say that is that this pump house, as they were explaining to you, is basically the lifeline of the majority of the communities here. And to put this pump house inside the river, which is what you'll do if you build behind it, if we do have an event and they lose a pump house, we're going to be out of water. They are the major suppliers, Commission, Edinburgh, the rural drainage communities. So I think the idea is to protect this pump house so it stays operational. And so going behind it, yes, we protect the community, but we're going to lose water. And that happened in some of the other irrigation districts that their pump houses are inside the river levee. So I really believe that we should look at trying to work with the irrigation district and trying to address the pump house and bring the earthen levees. I believe it will be economical, in which the Commissioner Flores has equipment out in that area. Joseph, you've got equipment out in this area, that I think working together we can build the dirt part ourselves, or hire a contractor to do the dirt part, but we provide all the materials, and work with the irrigation district on trying to raise that levy up. But again, the issue is the board has to look at using local dollars to go work on a levy where we've got the letter saying that we're not responsible, that the IBWC is responsible. It's putting this board in a similar position the previous board was in
2006.
in 2007. Spend local money to go work on the levees or keep it in harm's way. It's a decision for this board, which was a decision the previous board had to do.
Well, the adverse effect is, it's almost imminent that the county has to step in, similar to '07 when they were going to decertify our levees and everybody was have to get flood insurance. So we're in the same precarious position.
Yes, sir.
What do we need to do to expedite this?
Basically, the direction of the board is you've given us direction to move forward on the project. The IBWC commissioner wants a letter from you, Judge, saying this is what Hidalgo County is wanting to do. Otherwise, they will continue working with DHS on putting the structure inside like they planned, which could proceed for a year, 2 years, whatever it's going to take for them to do the funding. But we can't move forward until they get a letter from you. I think Ms. Chapa, where's Ms. Chapa?
When can we know if the irrigation district can share in some of the costs?
We've got a board meeting, and we can bring it up to them this Thursday. And to what level of participation we can have that discussion there. Of course, it's not an action item at this point. But again, it's going to make, I think it's worthy because of the timing. You're 2 to 3 years away from construction. You go the IBWC way, plus forgetting about the $8 million. This is certainly a shorter route. It protects the county now.
Yeah, no, I think everybody here is in agreement.
Yeah. So we can talk about it this Thursday, see what level of participation, and come back to the board.
And again, so we can get a feel for the total cost.
Yes,
We're
sir.
looking at $800,000 for the building, and
Yes,
what
sir.
about the
rest of it.
the areas of connecting to the levees?
We can work with the Drainage District staff to determine they may be better suited to give us estimates on what it would take to have their.
My recommendation, Judge, Commissioners, is that the board consider working with the firm that worked on it before, which was Danamar. They've got the information on the levees, they've got the experience on the levees.
They'll mobilize a lot faster.
It mobilized a lot faster.
Godfrey, let me just ask another question.
Yes,
Is there any potential chance that the IBWC will be looking at this being a potential reimbursable project? Is this, or are we solely on our own on
I
this?
will let Ms. Chapa.
That was part of the discussion that incurred, Commissioner. They started talking about the cost and the time, if IBWC was part of it. And I know that the judge and the commissioners both felt that this was a project that needed to get done and taken care of now to make sure that constituents were out of harm's way. And so because of the fact that IBWC was saying we still have to go in, we have to do an environmental study.
Yeah, well, I'm just forecasting it because the simple argument of the past was that IBWC was in fact going to consider reimbursing.
What they said, it would
didn't.
take through 2015 before they could even get into their budget. And so when Godfrey recommended this easier and faster way of being able to fix the issue so that we could have some peace of mind as to what would happen if we were to get floods, then it was the most inexpensive and the fastest way that we saw it needed to go.
Okay.
By consensus, Steve, can we just simply direct Godfrey to get together with the irrigation district personnel and representatives?
I think the direction be proceed as directed. I think he's gotten the advice. He needs the direction of the court. And Godfrey, the only other thing I might add is if it's okay with the irrigation district, perhaps you need to attend their meeting when this is discussed.
And that is fine. I believe the board has given us direction. We're not in contractual issues. We're just moving the program forward. I'll come back and see what the irrigation district says, and we'll put an item on the board's agenda for
Hopefully
final
by
direction.
next week, Godfrey.
Yes, sir. But as soon as I hear from the irrigation district.
Okay.
you
All right,
very much.
gentlemen, thank you. Godfrey, I've been requested to recess this meeting
Okay.
and convene our a regular meeting of the Hidalgo County Commissioners Court, which was set for 9:30. And right now, it's almost 10 o'clock. Present are for this meeting, we have Commissioner Cuellar, Precinct 1, Flores, Precinct 3, Palacios, Precinct 4, and myself. We have a quorum. Please join us in our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Father in heaven, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the privilege of living in a free country where we hope you bless us and keep us on the right track. Always help us to have wisdom and do the right thing for everyone concerned. I think we all are here, dear Lord, because we care about the county. Keep our minds directed in the right place. We ask all these things in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. All right, we're going to recess our County Commissioners Court meeting and reconvene our Drainage District Board meeting. Go ahead, Godfrey.
Under item 8, 2013 bond series, first item A, we'd like to take no action on that one, sir. I'd like to move on to item 9. Item 9A, renewal approval to purchase 2-year advanced support renewal for Autodesk software through the district's membership of the Department of Information Resource Contract Number DIR SDD 1697, the amount of $1,832.14. This is our technical support for our CAD operation.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item B, requesting approval to reject sole bid received RFB number 130311220, lease of land for the purpose of farming. We put out for bid a section of land that we have south of the Edinburgh Airport. The city of Edinburgh put out the adjacent property. They got a better price than we did, so we'd like to reject and re-advertise the leasing of that land.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item C, requesting approval to advertise for RFB number HCDD11400900407, reinforced concrete pipe, tongue and groove, reinforced concrete pipe, rubber gasket, box culvert, less than 2-foot fill on top, box culvert more than 2-foot fill. It's our standard advertising for
Move for
pipe.
approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item D, requesting approval of work authorization number 2 for Meldon Inc. in the amount not to exceed $12,500 as it relates to inspection services for Precinct 2 Rado Drain Reroute Project. Everything is in order. They're requesting not reimbursement, but authorization to put an inspector on there while they're doing the work on the inside of the pipe. It's within the limits that they had on their contract.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item E, requesting approval of change order number 1, increase of $10,780 to construction contract HCDD1 1303 19C J09 drainage improvements phase 1 construction with FJW Construction LLC. This change order is for the installation of field drains that the farm needs to have installed in order for the water to be able to get off the fields that are being interrupted by the drainage.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item F, request approval to advertise RFB number HCDD1 14010 0409 Precinct 2 Rural Drainage Development Seminole Valley Subdivision Area Drainage Improvements. We're requesting authorization to advertise for these improvements.
Approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 10A, requesting approval of interlocal agreement with Hidalgo County Drainage District Number 1 and the County of Hidalgo, Texas, for the construction of a drainage project, Precinct 2, Rural Drainage Development, Northside Village, Hidden Valley Subdivision Area Drainage Improvement, in conjunction with the county road project on Gerhart Street. Basically, the drainage district, or rural drainage, is putting in a trunk line through the area. The precinct is coming back and doing the paving and the curb and gutter. They felt it was more appropriate for the contractor that's putting in the pipe to at least install the inlets on there. But since it is going to be a county project, we need to get into an interlocal with the county for the county to reimburse the drainage district for those particular items.
I move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Pursuant to the board's approval of interlocal with the county of Hidalgo, requesting approval of change order number 1, increase of $43,800 to construction contract number HCDD1 1400010121, Precinct 2, Rural Drainage Development, Northside Village, Hidden Valley Subdivision, Area Drainage Improvements, Roja Construction and Paving LLC. This is the amount of money that will cost to do that work, and the county had a similar item on their agenda.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
2013 Bond Series, item A, requesting approval of final negotiated agreement for professional engineering services with S&B Infrastructure Ltd. as it relates to the repair to Weir Number 4 on the main floodwater channel in Willacy County, Texas, approved by negotiations by the Board of Directors on January 15, 2013. These are part of the contracts in the bond issue.
Approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
We'll be requesting approval of work authorization number 1 from S&B Infrastructure in the amount of $36,601 as it relates to the preliminary engineering for Weir Number 4 on the main floodwater channel in Willacy County, Texas.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item C, requesting approval of work authorization number 2 from S&B Infrastructure in the amount of $10,560 as it relates to the surveying services for Weir Number 4 on the main floodwater channel in Willacy County, Texas.
Is this over by the South Ranch?
Yes, sir, west of El Saus.
Move for approval.
Second.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item D, requesting approval of work authorization number 3 from S&B Infrastructure in the amount of $16,575.72 as it relates to the geotech services for Weir Number 4 on the main floodwater channel.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
At this time, item 12 is a closed session for the board consideration.
Do you want to, should we proceed at this time then? All right, pursuant to 55107 and 072, entertain a motion to proceed to executive session.
Judge, just for the record, you're going into closed session to seek legal advice regarding the interpretation of the contract, is that correct?
Yes.
The appropriate section would be 551.071.
Is there a motion and a second?
So move.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Can we have your attention, please? We're back in open session. And as I understand it, I'm not sure if you want to state it, Steve, or do you want me to proceed as to the consensus, to provide direction that we proceed to do what is necessary to employ a council to conduct, I guess, a fact-finding analysis of the circumstances that led to the signing and the payment of any fees to the Intech Corporation as a result of the work done on the levees and the border wall projects. Did I leave anything out?
I think that covers it, Judge.
All right, and we're going to be proceeding to do that at our next regular meeting. And then whoever we hire will be given a reasonable amount of time to conduct his investigation and analysis and report back to us. And based on whatever that report reflects is what the court will consider taking action on, I would imagine. We don't need any action, do we, Steve?
Not at this time, Judge.
Oh, I need a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. I would, at this time, just request a moment of silence for Sheriff's Deputy Mauro Davila and his family. The Davila family recently suffered the loss of their son, Eric Davila, and his mother, Elda Davila, this past week. Our condolences to Mr. Davila during this difficult time. Thank you. All right, under open forum. First presenter is Virginia Townsend.
Good morning. You all are going to think I'm never satisfied. And that's probably true, but anyhow, you know how much it bothers me, how long we've been in this building, and we haven't gone back to where we belong? It's bothered me a whole lot. So I asked. The first meeting held at Edinburgh City Hall was October the 11th, 2011. 3.5 years? Really? It cost us October through December 2011, $11,354.40. January through December in 2012, $48,352.50. January through December 2013, $44,471.40. Payments from October 2011 to December 2013 is $104,178.30. Really? Honestly, guys, if I was sitting up there, somebody's head would have been gone a long time ago. I don't know. How about the Precinct 1 Constable building? Another one grinds and asks for more and more and more money to finish. No, somebody has got to say, we are going to have projects, and they are going to start at a time, and they're going to end at a time, and they're going to stay within budget. Gee, that would be a new thing. So I would really like to see that. Thank you very much.
I'm going to take an item out of order. We have with us the Honorable Judge Carlos Villalon, Jr., who has recently been honored by the state, and at this time we're going to be presenting a resolution to honor Judge Villalon here in Hidalgo County. Elda, can you proceed?
Yes. Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Today we're recognizing Judge Carlos Villalon, Jr. on his recent distinguished appointment. Joining us today, we have Judge Carlos Villalon, Jr. and the Child Protecting Court staff, which is Ms. Leti Silva, Assistant Coordinator, Agustin de la Rosa, the bailiff, as well as his wife, Marisela Villalon, and daughter, Tori. May I please read the resolution? Resolution in honor of Judge Carlos Villalon Jr. Whereas Carlos Villalon Jr. has been an exemplary public servant, a model of justice and integrity, and an astute voice of wisdom and leadership in Hidalgo County's judicial system, and was appointed in December 2013 by the Honorable Eva Guzman, Justice Supreme Court of Texas Chair, to be a Children's Commission member of the Supreme Court of Texas Permanent Judicial Commission for Children, Youth, and Families for a 3-year term. And whereas commission members include officials from the Department of Family and Protective Services and Child Protective Services, nonprofit organizations, and state bar leaders, private attorneys, legislators, judges, elected officials, and other child welfare stakeholders. And whereas in his new appointment, Judge Villalon will take part in overseeing numerous projects and programs and increase communication and collaboration between the judiciary and Child Protective Services and other stakeholders in Child Protective Court system. Whereas Judge Villalon achieved success by pursuing his education, attending the University of Texas Pan American in Edinburgh, Texas, and obtaining his Bachelor's of Arts degree in Political Science in 1991. Judge Villalon decided to pursue a legal career and attended St. Mary's University School of Law in San Antonio, Texas, where he graduated with a Juris Doctor degree in 1997. Whereas in 1998, Judge Villalon began his professional career with Hidalgo County as an assistant criminal district attorney. And in 1999, he went on to prosecute child support cases against delinquent obligors as Assistant Attorney General for the Office of the Attorney General for the state of Texas. And whereas Judge Villalon opened his own private practice called the Law Office of Carlos Villalon Jr. in 1999, and also served as staff attorney for Strother, Keeter, Mulder, PC, the law offices of John Ventura, PC, the Stone Law Firm, PC, and the Malays Law Firm. Judge Villalon has also served as regional attorney for the Office of General Counsel, Texas Department of Protective and Regulatory Services for 4 years, where he represented litigation ranging from general and civil suits to suits involving the termination of parental rights. He also provided training to caseworkers and CASA volunteers regarding the legal process and requirements in CPS cases. And whereas Judge Villalon is currently serving as the Associate Judge of Child Protection Court of the Rio Grande Valley West, 5th Administrative Judicial Region. Judge Villalon was appointed in 2012 by the Honorable J. Rolando Olvera, Jr., presiding judge as the 5th Administrative Judicial Region. Judge Villalon conducts hearings in CPS cases in Hidalgo and Starr counties and promotes collaboration between CPS parents and attorneys in order to expedite permanency for children. Now therefore be it resolved that the Hidalgo County Commissioners Court hereby recognizes and congratulates the Honorable Judge Carlos Villalon Jr. for his distinguished appointment as the Children's Commission member of the Supreme Court of Texas Permanent Judicial Commission for Children, Youth, and Families, and for his leadership and commitment to protect the lives of children, and for his dedication to serving the citizens of Hidalgo County and the state of Texas. Approved this 18th day of March 2014.
Approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Judge, congratulations, sir.
Thank you very much. If the court would indulge me in just a few moments, I'd like to say a few things. When I was appointed to this position, it was a little more than a year and a half ago, so it's been very recent. My goal was to develop a child protection court in which everybody could work collaboratively to find solutions for these troubled families and achieve permanency for abused and neglected children. I envisioned a court where participants could voice their opinions and concerns openly and where we could all work together. Judge Rolando Olvera, the presiding judge of the 5th Administrative Region, my supervisor, gave me this opportunity and granted me the liberty to develop this type of court. And I was fortunate enough to have an excellent crop of attorneys, assistant DAs, CPS staff and supervisors, and a CASA program that were willing to make this happen. And it seems to be working, and apparently working very well. But it hasn't been easy, and it certainly hasn't been without the help inside and outside of the courtroom. I want to take a moment to thank some of the folks who have been able to help us along the way. First of all, Your Honor, the county commissioners, I want to thank you all for helping us out. You all gave us a budget when we needed one. You gave us a court bailiff and administrative assistant positions, and these positions were key in allowing us to secure the safety of our court and its participants and become more efficient with administrative matters. Of course, I can't thank you enough for the new courtroom that we have and the secure courtroom that we have now. We are really enjoying our new location. Additionally, I would like to particularly express my thanks to Rick Alvarez, who's somewhere in here, and Ms. Yolanda Chapa. They have always been very receptive to our concerns and always willing to help. I want to thank my staff and my family. The staff, they keep the court secure, they keep the dockets running smooth, and they keep the administrative tasks in check. And my family they tolerate my long hours, but I'm very happy that they're with me. The district courts who've entrusted me to handle their child welfare cases. Laura Hinojosa, who I do not know if she's here today, but she's been key in assisting the court with her district clerks. From the get-go, she assigned 2 clerks to our court, and they have done an outstanding job for us. The Attorney General's office for helping us with paternity cases. And there are countless folks who have just helped us along the way. Budget, the auditor's office who keeps our numbers straight, the buildings and maintenance folks who have built us anything that we need, and IT who keeps our computers running straight. With regard to the appointment, last May, representatives of the Texas Children's Commission, as a part of a court practices study, came down here to observe one of our dockets. Although their findings are still pending, I would venture to say that they probably liked what they saw. In November, I received a call from Supreme Court Justice Eva Guzman, and she told me that she had heard about the great work that we're doing down here for our children and families. She extended me an opportunity to be considered by the Supreme Court of Texas for the Permanent Judicial Commission for Children, Youth, and Families. And the following Monday, the Supreme Court approved my appointment. It's an opportunity to develop and coordinate efforts to improve court performance in child abuse and neglect cases on a statewide level. I've been trying to do it here on the countywide level, and now they're giving me an opportunity to do this statewide. And it's an opportunity that I feel would not have been offered had it not been for the efforts of everyone involved in assisting the Child Protection Court, and that means all of you and several of the folks here who participate in our court hearings every day, the CPS folks, the attorneys, and everybody. As much as I am grateful for the opportunity and the recognition, I am truly grateful to all of you for your hard work and dedication. I wouldn't have got this opportunity without you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Judge. Judge, thank you again for what you do, sir. All right, going back to open forum. Next presenter is Fern McClarity.
Wasn't ready for that. Well, my question today is that we had to leave last week early. We had a meeting, but I understand through someone calling me that y'all had talked about the garbage pickup or the whatever in the county, and that y'all would be saving $5 million if we did it or something. And I understand that we're like $21 million, or we're $21 million in the hole. Last year we had a shortfall, so y'all had to move money here, there, and everywhere to do it. What, $5 million, is this a sure thing? Because I understand that it came back out and said, oh, that's how we get our new courthouse. Y'all can't put money in any kind of a, I don't know, department or whatever, wherever you're putting it, because y'all come up and spend it faster than you can save it. So I don't quite understand how you plan to pay for the courthouse. And I was at a meeting the other day, and they talked about how many more we need a new courthouse, we needed more courts, we need more judges. And my thing is, if the courts would work 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, and if they would stop putting on their off their dockets, they have dockets that are pages and pages and pages, but they also roll them over for weeks in advance, 2 weeks, a month, or whatever. So actually that big, thick docket didn't get much done that day. They put it off again and again and again. And if they would stop doing that and actually did it, then there wouldn't be quite so much work coming around. And then on the agenda today, we have for the morgue, y'all wanted to spend $40,000 for a HEPA filter installation. I just wondered what that was. I hope y'all go into details as to what that's for. Thank you.
Jim Barnes.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. I belong to an organization called Come and Take It Rio Grande Valley, kind of a play on words on a Gonzalez canon. The organization is dedicated to open carry of rifles and handguns. And we are scheduling a rally in Pharr at Cage, which is US 281, and US Business 83, Saturday, March 15th, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And I need to emphasize that gun safety is paramount in everyone that will be there. There will be some people there that will not have firearms, but will be carrying signs. We invite everyone to come and participate, support the Second Amendment. Thank you very much.
Next presenter is Opal Billman.
Good morning. My name is Opal Billman. When Joe petitioned the court for divorce, the court determined our land to be excess land with no value. Throughout the years of our marriage, Joe and I invested in land. We bought and paid for land and had no indebtedness on it. Given the location of our land, when the new McAllen Civic Center was built, because our land is about 2 miles due west and between Expressway 83 and Business 83, our land actually increased in value. The court assumed the position that their decision entitles them to not have to return our land to the owners. In other words, if the court says the land has no value and cannot be divided, that assessment of our land entitles the court to keep all of our property, everything we own. Show me that law. To say our land has no value and cannot be divided and returned to the owners is extremely untrue. The court imposed $650,000 that did not exist into this divorce action. The court has no authority to levy debt on our debt-free community property. Responsibility of the court was to divide our community property into a fair divorce settlement and return it to us. It is an absolute impossibility for $650,000 to be our community property or the value of our community property. The court's non-existent $650,000 is conjecture with no fact or status in this divorce action. For a divorce settlement, the $650,000 was divided. Our land was not. The $650,000 did not exist our land did. My non-existent $266,500 was court-ordered to be given to Joe as a loan from me so Joe could buy my land with my money, my non-existent money. For my community property, the court awarded me Joe's debt from his non-existent money. Joe was court-ordered to give me a check each month to repay my court-ordered loan to him. Any money I was to be paid for my divorce settlement was not from my community property through the court, but from Joe's share of the non-existent $650,000, which amounts not to a divorce settlement of community property to Joe, but court-ordered spousal support from Joe to me. Any money I was to get had to come from Joe.
You have a minute left, Ms. Billman.
The only money I was to receive was a check each month from Joe in payment of the court-ordered loan. Examine the records. I appeal these court actions to the 13th Appellate Court. The 13th Appellate Court's opinion stated that any property owned jointly by Joe and me not included in the divorce settlement remained owned equally by Joe and me, and the 13th Appellate Court affirmed the lower court's ruling, which leaves our intact community property owned by Joe and me and the court with a divorce settlement of $650,000 that does not exist. Continuance of this case is barratry. Thank you very much.
Next presenter is Mr. Luis De Leon.
Good morning.
Morning,
I'm here
sir.
to talk about some empty lots in LJ subdivision in Alamo, Texas.
Where is it at, sir?
Alamo, Texas.
Alamo, okay.
And we're here to talk about that because we've been waiting for someone to take care of this problem with the empty lots where people are throwing trash and dumping tires and everything. Yes, they promise us they'll be out there. They come out there and pick up the bushes and stuff from the trees and stuff. That's about all they do. But after that, you don't see them. They had one meeting about a year ago, and we're just trying to get this taken care of for the kids because there's snakes there. There's being houses built there brand new. I built the house there just recently. And with these problems, the value of our houses are going to go down. That's what I don't want. I come from up north to build houses just like the Winter Texas. They come here and spend their money, and I do the same thing. And that's what we want, things to be taken care of in our area. Because,
Is this in the city of Alamo or
That's
outside?
what I was about to ask.
Precinct 1.
Sir?
Precinct 1. It's,
Precinct 1.
North
We're just having all them problems there, we just want this taken care of, for our kids' safety. And we're gonna try to get a meeting together, if they can come out within a week or 2 weeks, get everybody from the subdivision together to talk about these problems.
Yes, sir.
If we can get it taken care of, that'd be great. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next presenter is Cindy Ferreiro.
Hi, so we're here on behalf of the University of Miami, along with 5 other students, and we're just here to work with Lupe and the Colonias during our spring break. There's also some students from the University of South Florida who are not present.
Yeah, even though our knowledge of the Colonias is very limited, we've already been able to learn a little bit about those areas, and we've been able to identify 2 areas of importance that are of concerns to those communities. The first one being a water drainage system. As many of you know, that whenever there is storms or hurricanes, the potential for stagnant water to just sit there is aggravated, which also aggravates the potential for mosquito-borne diseases and for deficiencies in infrastructure. Another concern that we've become aware about is the need for public lighting, and when there is a lack of public lighting, the potential for street accidents is also aggravated, and those costs associated with those can aggravate both for the victims and the people who cause those incidents. So over the next few days, we will be volunteering and doing what little we can do to help these communities out, and we'd like to thank the County of Hidalgo for its hospitality and for the opportunity to allow us to learn more about another corner of our beautiful nation. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Next presenter is Nicolas And I apologize, I cannot read the last name. Is Nicholas?
He was them.
He left?
No, they were together.
Oh, they were together, I'm sorry. Next presenter is Barbara Stores. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. As many of you have probably heard, almost the entire Hidalgo County is now under quarantine for citrus greening disease. We're going to have a public education program on March 26th at our office here in Edinburgh for those who would like to learn more about what the quarantine means, what citrus greening is, and how they can help us prevent the spread of citrus greening disease. When we initially discovered citrus greening, it was in a commercial grove south of San Juan. Since then, beginning in November of last year, we have discovered citrus greening in pockets in Mission, La Blanca, San Carlos, and now Monte Alto. And for the most part, most of them are in residential areas, so we really need the help of the public in slowing down the spread of this disease, because it's going to be devastating to our industry and to our economy. We're going to be having some more meetings, and I'll be back to announce those, and I'll be sending them to Hilda so that she can put them on the webpage. And we are, Adelita is going to have an event at the Mission Community Center for women ages 40 to 60. This is a grant, and it covers pap smears and mammograms for women 40 to 60 who are without medical coverage, and they're free. So I've given you a flyer in Spanish and in English, and I'd appreciate it if you post them in your offices. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Next presenter is Hilda Salinas.
Hello, good morning. Today, what we're doing is we want to remind all of Hidalgo County employees that the Killer Bees invited all Hidalgo County employees and their family and friends to enjoy a night of hockey on Saturday, March 22nd at the State Farm Arena. And the Killer Bees versus the Corpus Christi Ice Rays, and it's for all employees to go and have fun and their families. It's again at the State Farm Arena. It starts at 7 p.m. and the price for the discount tickets are only $10, and employees need to contact Jeff Vaughn. And we've been passing out posters and flyers and sending out emails to everyone so that way they can, with his contact information, and they can go ahead and contact with him. And they need to call him to purchase tickets. So employees can pay with a credit card over the phone or pay with cash. And again, they must be purchased through Jeff Vaughn in order to get the discount. So they invite us to go and have fun and enjoy a night of hockey. Again, it's on Saturday, March 22nd at the State Farm Arena. Thank you.
Our final presenter is Mr. Raul Lozano.
Morning, Judge, Commissioners. We have a group here that came up to the podium, but I need to acknowledge this group because they're here on spring break from University of Miami, and they've opted to select a subdivision for a major cleanup project, and they're going to be starting that project tomorrow morning. I want to ask them to come over because these people, or these students, these young people took time for spring break to do this. Okay, so we need to acknowledge them, and I'd like for them to take a picture with the court, please, if we could.
Now, why don't you line up here?
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for.
Bye. Yeah, thank you for what you do, guys.
The subdivision that they have selected, and thanks to Daniel and the organization Lupe, la Organización del Pueblo Entero, is Indian Hills East, which is one of our biggest subdivisions in Precinct 1. Of course, Commissioner has offered to help this group with the containers and the equipment necessary to do the cleanup. Daniel, you want to say?
Thank you, Mr. Lozano. Judge, Commissioners, thank you for the space. Thank you for recognizing some of the students that join us actually every year during spring break and other parts of the year where they come out and do a lot of projects in colonias. Specifically, like Mr. Lozano said, we're going to be at Indian Hills East tomorrow. Commissioner Cuellar, thank you for agreeing to being there with us, and the residents that are also going to be volunteering together with the students tomorrow in one of the biggest colonias that we have in the Precinct 1 area. They have a lot of, social issues with, all kinds of other issues like streetlights and the roads and all kinds of stuff. So I think it's going to be good for the residents there to see some sort of victory for them and some sort of hope for them to be encouraged to be more active. We hope to be moving forward on future projects. But thank you very much, Commissioner Cuellar, and the rest of y'all. Thank you.
And thank you, Daniel, for all your cooperation. And it's nice to have those students, come spend their spring break doing that. So thank you very much for everything.
Thank you, sir. All right, next item is item 6B.
El consent, no lo hacemos, no.
Ahorita nos vamos para atrás.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners.
Yes.
Michael Leal here for Bobby Villarreal, County Judge's Office. 6B, discussion, consideration, and approval of amendments to the Hidalgo County Thoroughfare Plan as approved by the Hidalgo County MPO Transportation Policy Committee on February 20th, 2014. With the court's permission, we'd like to turn it over to Mr. Andrew Cannon, Executive Director for the MPO.
Morning, Judge, Commissioners.
Morning,
This is
sir.
our annual update to the Thoroughfare Plan. It's been through the processes, working with all the municipalities. We have the resolutions on file. We've worked with all the staff and also some of the utility companies, make sure that we preserve right-of-way for future transportation projects and development. They've approved it, our board approved it last week, and we're asking County Commissioners Court to adopt the plan as well as we do on an annual basis.
No questions? Entertain a motion to approve.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
On our consent agenda, any concerns, Mr. Ofracio?
I don't have any, Judge, unless someone else has any concerns. I would like to recommend approval.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Item 7, Mr. Guerra.
Thank you, Judge, Commissioners. Item 7A, 1 and 2, there is no action unless there's action to be taken further down the agenda. Commissioners, Judge, today, item 7B, 1, 2, and 3, there is no action as well. Item 7C, I'm asking the court to accept the settlement check from Pronto General Agency in the amount of $556, and this will settle an auto accident with one of our county vehicles.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 7D, I'm also asking the court to accept the settlement check from State Farm Insurance Company in the amount of $6,766.11. Again, this will settle a total loss accident with one of our county vehicles.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 7E, I'm asking the court to accept and approve the 2014 museum funding agreement between the County of Hidalgo and Museum of South Texas History in the amount of $270,000. Judge, Commissioners, this is a reduced amount from what we allocate to the museum, and so at this time, I'm asking that the court accept or approve the reduced amount as I'm still looking at the funding issues that the museum has at this time. And I may come back at a later time with another action item, but at this time, I do believe it's important that we have this agreement in place so that we can do what we need to do with respect to this account.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you, Judge, Commissioners.
Item 8, our constables.
Good morning, Joel Rivera, Chief Deputy for Constable Precinct 480 Guerra.
Agenda item 43407, Local Border Security Program. Judge, would you like for me to read these into the record one at a time and ask for approval one at a time, or 1 through 5 and then get one-time approval?
I
at the end?
believe we're required to do it one at a time.
Okay. A1, authorization and approval to accept the Local Border Security Program fiscal year 2014 grant award, LBSP number 14-0031 in the amount of $75,000.
Move for approval.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
A2, authorization for county judge as authorized official to sign grant award form and related documents.
Move for approval.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
8A3, authorization to pay overtime reimbursable under the grant terms and conditions.
Move for approval.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
8A4, approval of certification of revenue as certified by the county auditor for the Local Border Security Program fiscal year 2014.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
8A5, approval to appropriate funds for Local Border Security Program 14 in the amount of $75,000.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Item 9, our HR.
Good morning, Judge,
Good morning.
Commissioners. Sylvia for the Human Resources Department. For the Sheriff's Office, approval of the following personnel actions effective next full pay period, which is March 24th. Delete clothing allowance for slot 209, Deputy Sheriff, $500. And add clothing allowance to Deputy Sheriff position, slot 120, in the amount of $500. And the approval of the revised salary schedule.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Item 10, our Sheriff's Office. Thank you, sir.
How you doing?
Morning, Judge, Commissioners. Richard Ozuna, Sheriff's Office, Hidalgo County, on behalf of our Sheriff, Guadalupe Lupe Trevino. Item 10A, just presentation and discussion of the 2013 racial profiling report as presented by the Hidalgo County Sheriff's Office in accordance to Article 2.133 of the Texas Code of Criminal Procedures. Hand out the booklets for y'all to review.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Judge, Commissioners.
Item 11, our Health Department.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Eddie Olivares, Hidalgo County Health and Human Services. Have item 11A is requesting approval of secure shredding service agreement between Lone Star Shredding, Rio Grande Valley, and Hidalgo County Health and Human Services Department. The agreement is for the shredding services provided by Lone Star.
Eddie.
Yes, sir.
I understand that the county has its own shredding.
Yes, sir. I've been reviewing this with Ms. Muñiz from the county clerk's office, and they have an excellent equipment. One of the concerns is that for legal documents, court documents, those are considered public information documents on open documents, but under HIPAA rules, medical records and things like that, they need to be shredded through a bonded, insured agency, and documentation of that bonding and destruction must be validated and certified. Ms. Muñiz actually brought up with the idea, and I think it's an excellent idea. What would the procedure be to become such an entity of that bonding? That way the county would in the future be able to deal with that. And I think it's a great idea by her part. But for right now, we're needing to look at this because this company is the one that has the bonding and the requirements necessary by the state.
What if we did it in-house? Do you still need, I thought bonding would be only
Yes,
if we had a
yes, sir.
third party, but if we did it in-house, can we
We
get
still
away
need
with
it because in the event a document is somehow or other released to the public and information's there, the family could come back and sue the county, sue the city, or excuse me, the county for that, but there is insurance and component. That's why this bonding is required for this. And the state requires that documentation in place to be part of our agreements and contracts.
How long is this contract for?
This contract, I think, is for a year, sir, but there's always an out on it, just like in any other contract we do with the
In
county.
case we get certified or whatever, so
Right.
maybe.
Yeah, and I'm excited about that idea. I think the county would benefit from that type of bonding component, not only for our records probably, but for some of the other
Well,
departments.
why don't you go ahead and work with Ms. Muniz and try to get this done, get us bonded?
Yes, sir, I will, but we need this one going for right
Move for
now until we
approval.
get that other procedures going,
Need a
sir.
second?
Second.
But that's a
Those in
great
Those in
idea.
favor, say aye. You got it, Eddie.
Actually, I don't like it.
B,
Item B, sir, we're tabling that action, no action on this item.
all right.
Item C, Healthcare Funding District, just to give you an update real quick. Discussion and action clean, but not limited to Healthcare Funding District and our expenditures. We're waiting on the certification of funds on the funding that was collected from the hospitals. That Mr. Ufracio and I had a discussion. We're working with budget and Paul's office at the tax office to get all this going. It'll probably come to court this next week or so to get that certified. Just an update. And with your permission, sir, I move on to item D, discussion and action under indigent health care. Sir, just follow up, we have gotten no dates on the actual drawdown for the uncompensated care funding. That was part of the budgetary agreement we did with the hospitals in funding uncompensated care. We're waiting on those dates for those drawdowns, and I've been in contact with Mr. Cruz at the budget office and coordinating with him. Those are just updates for your information, sir. If there's any questions or comments, I'd be open to them, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Have a good day.
Item 12, Facilities Management.
Judge, I just wanted to give you some information on this. SOS Technologies has been a vendor that has been with the county many years. It has like a recurring renewal on its agreement. However, a PO was not obtained. That's why it's a claim, but we are going to be looking into, on the request by facilities, that we terminate this agreement, but I don't have it in front of me to give you the circumstances under which we can terminate. So these have already been delivered, and they are in place. These are oxygen tanks. So-
You need approval to
Yes, sir.
proceed.
For the $600?
Yes, sir.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Judge,
County Auditor, number 13.
I'm going to request no action on this item, but I wanted to give you a little background as to why I placed this item on the agenda. The county has a contract with Purdue, Brandon, and association with John David France for collection of delinquent tax attorneys, or delinquent taxes. I was informed that the association is no longer in effect, and I just wanted to make sure that, and we have been making payments to Purdue Brandon since day one. And the John David France voiced a concern regarding the payment of his fees that he gets. So that's why I placed the agenda item on this agenda. I mean, the item on this agenda. Spoke with Purdue and Purdue Brandon saying that the services will not lapse, that everything is going to continue. Mayor France said the same thing. However, he's got some concerns regarding his payments. But he's out of town, and he called me and wanted to see if we could postpone it till next week. He wants to be present to explain his concerns.
Yeah, all right, sir. So no action
So no
today.
action, and we're going to bring it back next week. But I just wanted to give you an update as to why I
All
have
right.
the agenda.
If you could, send me a copy of that contract.
Okay, will.
All right, next item, 14.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Item 14A, authorization and approval of purchase of new wireless GPS service through the county's membership with the DIR contract. As listed below, there are 4 units for Commissioner Precinct 4. We're adding 4 units to their GPS platform.
The form was done attached, but it's already been
Oh,
attached.
I'm sorry, we did get the forms after the agenda item was published. We do have the forms in our possession, and they'll be forwarded to your office, sir.
Thank you.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 14B is authorization of approval of data cards as listed below. These are the data cards used by the Emergency Management Department. We've been working with them to get them caught up to speed on their needs.
Move for approval.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you, Judge. Have a good morning, Commissioners.
Item 15, Urban County.
Good morning, Judge Commissioners. First item on the agenda is requesting the approval of a program amendment for the City of Progreso with their 2013 work plan. The city has requested that they be allowed to delete the current streets identified in the work plan and add additional streets that were previously identified in previous work plans so that they can complete those projects.
Move for approval.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item B is a request on behalf of Hidalgo County Precinct Number 2, requesting the approval of a best and final negotiated contract for construction material testing services with Robert Kistner in the amount of $48,834.23, and this is for a GLOW project identified as the South Fork Drain Project in FAR.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item C is on behalf of Precinct 3 and requesting the approval of a contract extension with CVQ Land Surveyors for an additional 6 months in order to collect the information regarding the title reports and to complete the surveying services that they were originally hired for. This is also for a project with the General Land Office known as the Benitez Drain.
Move for approval.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Our final item is on behalf of the City of La Jolla, requesting consideration and action to approve a purchase order to Fresno Construction in the amount of $24,999.60 for Parks and Recreational Facility Improvement Project, and this is from funding from 2009 and 2010.
Approved.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Item 16, our WIC program.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. We're here to proclaim March as National Nutrition Month, and I have a proclamation to read. It says, whereas food is a substance by which life is sustained, and whereas a type, quality, and amount of food that individuals consume each day plays a vital role in our overall health and physical fitness, and whereas there's a need for continuing nutrition education in a wide-scale effort to enhance good eating practices. Now, therefore, Hidalgo County Commissioners Court hereby proclaims the month of March as National Nutrition Month in Hidalgo County, and we encourage all citizens to join the campaign and become concerned about their nutrition and the nutrition of others in the hope of achieving optimum health for both today and tomorrow. And it is hereby witnessed and set by hand by the Great Seal of Hidalgo County.
Move for approval.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you. And then we have another proclamation for March 12th is tomorrow for Registered Dietitian Day. Right now, we employ 6 dietitians in the WIC program, and we provide high-risk counseling for pregnant women that are either have gestational diabetes or any other kind of illness that they need special counseling. And Cassie's our registered dietitian there at our administrative office, and she does all the nutrition education planning and trainings, and that we're going to honor them tomorrow. So I have a proclamation I'd like to read. It says, whereas registered dietitians are the food and nutrition experts who can translate the science of nutrition into practical solutions for healthy living, and whereas registered dietitians have degrees in nutrition, dietetics, public health, or related field from a well-respected accredited colleges and universities, they have completed an internship and passed an examination, and whereas registered dietitians use their nutrition expertise to help individuals make unique, positive lifestyle changes, and whereas registered dietitians work throughout the community in hospitals, schools, public health clinics, nursing homes, fitness centers, food management, food industry, universities, research, and private practice, and whereas registered dietitians are advocates for advancing the nutritional status of Americans and people around the world, now therefore Hidalgo County Commissioners Court hereby proclaims Wednesday, March 12, 2014 as Registered Dietitians Day in Hidalgo County, and we encourage all citizens to recognize the contributions of registered dietitians and express appreciation for their commitment to promoting science-based nutrition in the hope of achieving optimum health for both today and tomorrow. It's hereby witnessed, set the hand before and cause the seal of Hidalgo County to be affixed this day, the 11th day of March, 2014.
For approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you. And we have a basket we'd like to present to y'all, and it's full of nutritious things.
Give it to the judge.
You want to?
He doesn't have an idea.
Aye.
Some posters.
It's got an exhibit A.
All right, next item is item 17, precinct number 1.
Judge, Commissioners, today we have here Ms. Tanya Chavez with La Unión del Pueblo Entero, and she's going to make a short presentation on the Cesar Chavez Foundation movie, I believe. She's going to be promoting that. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm here today to promote the Cesar Chavez movie to you. As you know, our founder, Mexican American hero, will be showcasing a major movie, and the opening weekend will be March 28th through the 30th. And so we're pushing for everyone in the community to go watch the movie that opening weekend. It will determine the success of the movie. And because not only are we inviting the people to go and watch the movie, but we're also inviting them to take action on Day of Service, I have placed an invitation to the Cesar Chavez March. So I extend an invitation to all of you to join us on that day. And Lupe would also have special screenings of the movie, and we will let every single one of your offices know when will that be taking place, so you may join us on those days. And if you will also sign the petition for National Day of Service, we're asking President Obama to declare March 31st a National Day of Service. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Item 18, Precinct 2.
Morning, Judge Commissioners, Raul Salguero, Precinct 2. Item 18A, Judge Commissioners, is requesting authorization and approval to enter into a standard service agreement with the Military Highway Water Supply Corporation for a 2-inch water meter for Precinct 2 for the new equipment and maintenance facility.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor,
Is that
say aye.
18A? Is that 18A, Judge?
18A.
Because we have a concern on that.
The auditor has a point of clarification. There was an information packet attached or provided to us, and it is, I think it outlines the cost of installing the facility. It's $1,395 for the installation, and that's what that referred to, Mr. Fraser.
Right. So there's sufficient funding for that, because we couldn't determine whether the funding was in place since the
Yes,
packet was not.
it's in place.
All right, motion is made and seconded. Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 18B, it's approval of an interlocal agreement between Hidalgo County Drainage District Number 1 and the County of Hidalgo, Texas, for the construction of a drainage project in conjunction with a county road project, which is the Gerhard Road. That's item number 1.
Move for approval.
Second.
Is that on B, Judge, 18B?
Yeah.
Yeah, B1. Those in favor, say aye.
Yeah, we have also a comment concerning the interlocal agreement doesn't make reference to the Gerhard Road project, it makes reference to the
The subdivision, the subdivision is one of the projects that is being done under the rural drainage project by the Drainage District. We're constructing a road, and so what we're asking the Drainage District, and we're going to pay for the additional cost, is to extend that under the, before we finish the road, so that they don't have to tear up the road to then do it. So it's just easier for them to do the work, and we'll just pay them the fee, and but it's for the subdivision, it's not for the road project. That's why, I think Mr. Crane explained that to you, Mr. Fracio.
I just wanted, for the record, for you to explain that, because, yeah, we had a discussion earlier.
Yeah, it's a drainage improvement for the subdivision, that's why it's not for the road specifically.
Yeah, thank you.
In accordance with Section 7(9).
We still need to.
Okay, those
Oh, I'm
in
sorry.
favor, I believe we have, well, let me ask it again. I need a motion to approve B1.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And then item 2, B2, is in accordance with Section 791.014 of the Texas Government Code. It's approval of the interlocal cooperation agreement to coordinate the construction of the drainage system for both the Precinct 2 Gerhard Road project and the Drainage District Northside Village / Hidden Valley Subdivision Drainage Improvement Project.
Approve.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item C is Precinct 2 Gerhard Drive Road and Drainage Improvement, approval of a 2014 appropriation of funds into the Precinct 2 Gerhard Drive Road and Drainage Improvement Project in the amount of $220,000 to fund project expenditures from the fund balance, the Road and Bridge fund balance.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you, Judge and Commissioners.
Thank you, sir. Item 19, Precinct 4.
Yes, sir. Judge, I'm here for Precinct 4. The issue and the concern voiced by the auditor on this, and I'm speaking about the invoices for Marigandegui. Mr. Frasso does cite the statute that tells you that only the purchasing agent can purchase and acquire goods and services. However, we have a contract with Marigandegui. It was procured through me, approved by the court. What has failed to happen here is that the precinct did not secure a PO. They relied on an old PO that unfortunately had already been liquidated. I believe there has been some concern voiced by the auditor that they will not pay these invoices, but I do feel that the statute he's referring to is not the applicable issue here. It would be the lack of following purchasing policies and procedures in not securing a purchase order.
This was more.
I did discuss this with Ms. Josephine Ramirez,
But this is motor oil used for what precinct?
4.
Precinct 4.
Is for?
No, I
Yes.
don't think it's motor oil, Maria. It's
What is it,
something else.
diesel oil?
No,
This
what is
is-
it they purchase? Oil?
No, this is gas and fuel.
I'm sorry?
Fuel
Fuel?
purchases.
Okay.
We do have a contract.
Right, no, but I think there's two separate issues. The contract was approved by Commissioners Court. I mean, I don't think there's an issue with the
Procured
con-
through the purchasing department.
Right. However, the authorization for departments to buy under contract or not under contract is goes through a purchase order. So they did not have a purchase order in place in order to procure those.
Correct.
goods
And
services.
two mitigating circumstances there. My position is that this is a violation of purchasing policy procedures and not the statute you cite, because a contract that was procured through the purchasing department, approved by Commissioners Court, is in place. Now, there was a previous PO. Unfortunately, that PO that they relied on had been liquidated. So it was the failure to update or secure a new PO. And that's a violation of purchasing policies and not necessarily the statute.
So in order for me to pay that invoice, I guess I would have to get a legal opinion, you're saying, from Josephine Ramirez?
Yes.
How old are the invoices?
I don't know. I apologize, but I don't know. I didn't bring my, do you know how old they are? The ones for again?
There's two of them. I believe from December,
They're
George Hope,
not
precinct four,
that old yet.
Judge
I guess
90 days.
get some
As Ms.,
people in and, I mean, legal opinion, but we need to pay for it if they,
It was a claim. We did have a purchase order in 2013, and this required services. The first item here, Auditor, if I'm
I think
not
they
mistaken.
were, I
It was
think.
liquidated, so that it didn't exist.
Exactly. If it expired or was liquidated, then what they failed to do was secure a new PO for the 2014. But if they were ordered in December, they may have been relying, whoever ordered it, I do not know.
okay, and then the other one is at Mobile Mini, what's that?
That one, oh, those are just invoice, those were secured through quotes. They've exceeded the time they were going to keep them. That's not really an issue that's being addressed by they just needed it approved in order to pay. I think it's the Arguindegui one that is the biggest concern. But I will forward this to Ms. Josephine, if you'd like, but I would approve subject to her.
Yeah, we can approve it subject to legal.
Can we approve it?
Yeah,
or-
yeah.
Move approval subject to legal.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Okay.
Our Budget Office,
Morning, Judge, Commissioners. Sergio Cruz, Department of Budget Management. Item 20A1, discussion, consideration, and approval of co-manager for the refunding of outstanding bonds, and also the approval of the designation policy and the liability split if there is a co-manager assigned. Judge, Commissioners, right now what we're requesting is on the taxable series refunding, which is about a little bit over $30 million that we're going to be refunding in debt from Series 2005. We're requesting that we assigned a co-manager for the underwriting of that refunding. The court appointed Estrada Hinojosa as a senior underwriter for this refunding, and we're just asking that we assign also a co-manager, and we're recommending Stevens Company.
is Estrada requesting it?
No, this is from our office.
And the reason is what, Sergio?
Basically, the reason for that is so that we can get a wider distribution of the sale of the bonds. In essence, the wider the distribution, the better rates. There's a correlation between the distribution amounts and the rates that we could possibly achieve. So we'll be basically selling to a wider market as opposed to just those securities that Estrada sells. Will also have the market that Stevens also.
This company that you're proposing has access to a different
Yes, they're an
market?
underwriter. There's several underwriting firms like Estrada Hinojosa. There's Stevens Company, Stifel Nichols, Southwest Securities. There are several underwriters. The last issuance that we did, which was roughly about the same amount, it was a combination, just about a $7 million refunding and about a $24 million new CO issuance. We used two underwriters for that transaction. This was back in 2009. We used Southwest Securities and Stifel Nichols.
as the underwriters. They were, one of them was a senior underwriter, the other one was a co-manager. So we're basically asking for the same type of designation in this.
So is the benefit to the county the fact that we're going to have, what, access to more markets? We're going to have more money, or?
More bond buyers.
I think this is standard, Judge, on large issuances, and it's been done like that in the past. However, before, Estrada Hinojosa, as a financial advisor, would make those decisions without coming to court. So now, First Southwest is coming to court in conjunction with Budget and Management to get approval,
Official court approval to be able to use a co-manager.
to do that.
We are recommending that we use Stevens Company as the co-manager with a 70-30 split. So basically, Estrada Hinojosa would be responsible, they'll be liable to sell 70% of the bonds. Stevens would be liable to sell 30% of the bonds. And basically, we would be looking at a group net designation policy, which means that that's the way they would be paid out on the 70-30 split for each of the bonds.
Sergio, what about the fees? I guess, is that the number 2
That
item?
would be number 2, yes, and we'll
Okay.
discuss that
All right.
afterwards.
So you feel that we need that to do that? So-
I think it'll be better for the county if we do have a co-manager, especially given the CIP forecast that we're having for future years. We would be better to have that and see what these other underwriters can also do, and get better competition, participation.
All right.
So if I could have approval
What's the
of...
pleasure of the court?
Judge, I have one question.
Yes.
How do we procure Stevens Group?
Stevens, basically, it would be similar to what we did with the Estrada Hinojosa, it would be court approval.
But how do we procure them?
Procure them? There is no procurement process other than
How did their name come up?
they're one of the series of underwriters that send...
Did you pick them, or did Estrada pick them, or
No,
did
no.
First Southwest pick
It
them?
was based on our recommendation that we use Stevens Company. We've gotten more communication with Stevens as an underwriting firm, and that's how we designated them, as opposed to Stifel Nichols or any other firm.
Do you have to have this done today?
The designation of the co-manager, we would need to have it done because we're working on the offering documents and everything else, so there is a timeline.
I think in the past, it has been procured by the financial advisor.
Yes.
Directly.
All of these services have been
That's-
done.
That's my concern, is in the past, it was an agreement between the financial advisor and the co-manager. But now this is the first time it's being brought to court to ask the court to approve the co-manager.
You suggest a week would be enough for you to look into
I mean,
it? or-
that's- my question
Yes.
is, why is it coming to court to be approved when it normally would be approved by the,
Basically, so we can get court input as to whether to have a co-manager
but
or
we've
not.
never done that before?
No, before, it would just be left up to the team, yes.
Yeah, I think it was done at the direction from Balde. He wanted a transparency and to get court approval. In the past, it's been approved without
Well,
court action.
We've had co-managers in the past.
I understand,
except
but
they've
the
never
court,
come to
but
court.
the court didn't approve the co-manager.
Correct. And the court never approved the senior underwriter either, but we did
Right,
so
and
this
so
last time as well.
my question is, why are we doing it now?
Again,
Because-
for the same reason that we did for the senior underwriter, just more transparency, that way we know who's going to be
what I'm con-
participating in the transaction.
My concern is, if it was done by the underwriter without our input, we would not have a procurement issue. If we're approving it now, then it appears as though we're selecting them and we have a procurement issue.
Wouldn't it be better for
So
the
then we
financial
should just,
advisor to?
we should just have our financial advisor approve them based on our
That's the
recommendation?
way we've done it before. Well, without your recommendation.
Okay.
Probably be better for him to.
Otherwise, it sounds like we're going to have to open it up for competitive bids and, or
Now,
request
what
for
issue do we have as far as the
qualifications.
senior underwriter? Court approved the senior underwriter, before senior underwriters were approved by our financial advisor. Do we do that? Do we rescind
I
that
think
action?
I think
Or-
we need to talk about that.
Okay.
No action on it.
Yeah, put it on for next week again, Sergio, and you and Steve work it out.
Yes, sir. We'll place that on
I thought Steve was just recommending for the financial advisor
to take.
procure the.
I'll visit with
underwriter.
Mr. Crane during the week, and if there's a need to bring an item on the agenda for next week, we'll do so. If there is no need, then I'll just advise the court via memorandum.
All right, sir.
No action on item 1. On item 2 is approval of the structuring fee and offering document preparation fees for the refunding of the outstanding bonds. This is part of the agreement that we have with First Southwest as our financial advisors. They will be doing the structuring of the bonds. There's a structuring fee of $2,500 for the tax exempt series and a fee of $5,000 for the taxable series. So we're just bringing those to court for approval. And there also is a document fee, which is the preparation of the official statement of $2,500 plus approval of a printing budget of $3,500. So we're requesting those 4 items for approval. Yes, sir.
The fee schedule was not attached. Is this fee schedule includes the underwriters?
No, the underwriter's fee?
Right.
The underwriter, no.
This is just for the financial advisor here?
Yes, these are financial advisory services. When we sign the financial advisory contract, there's a specific fee for financial advisory services based on the par amount of the bonds being issued. And then there's also a structuring fee that's supposed to be approved by court prior to the issuance. And these are just some of the items that we had in meeting with First Southwest when we first brought them on board, that we would bring this to court before it would be done. Again, prior instances, we would just get, this is how much is left over after the issuance. It would be done after the fact. You had some concerns on that, so when we executed this contract, we had mentioned that before we execute the refunding, we would bring these items to court and get them approved by court.
No, the fee schedule is going to be attached at a later date to the agenda?
Yes, we'll attach it to the agenda afterwards, but the amounts were, as I mentioned, $2,500 for the tax exempt series, $5,000 for the taxable series, $2,500 for the document fee for the official statement, and printing cost of $3,500, not to exceed $3,500. And we are recommending approval of those fees.
Approval. Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 20B is approval and appointment of members to the County Energy Transportation Reinvestment Zone Advisory Committee. This is just a follow-up from last week's action. I don't know if the court has any names for consideration for approval of the advisory board. Again,
Go ahead, Commissioner.
No, they need to have experience knowing
Two of
oil and gas or...
them can just be county residents, no experience, no affiliation with oil and gas. They may, but they don't have to. And then there can be up to 1 to 3 members that do have to have related, oil and gas related businesses.
Can I appoint Virginia, would you want it? No? It sounds good to you?
Sounds like a whole lot of bureaucracy.
Does she want it? Wait a minute, I can't see you. What does that mean, yes?
No.
No, it sounds complicated, that it's going to take a lot of reading and a whole lot of understanding. And, you know, these kind of things.
Sounds perfect for you.
These kind of things, they truly need a whole lot of thought, and yet it's a slam dunk. We really need to do it, so there's no, you know, shall we do it or not kind of thing. So instead, you have to look at the ins and outs and see, is it a wise thing? What can we do to make it better? And it's going to take a lot of time and a lot of reading.
What about Mr. Barnes? He lives in precinct 3, no? You want to be in it?
Who are you talking to?
Him, Mr. Barnes.
Jim Barnes.
What's your question?
The appointment, would you want it?
Would you
Do
be
I
interested?
want?
Yes.
I have some concerns. If there's 3 oil and gas people on this and only 2 citizens, that's a majority. They're going to control everything. If you only put 1 oil and gas on there,
Well,
there's
we
3
don't have
people.
a choice. I believe the statute is directing us to appoint 3 oil.
I know it's up to 3.
Up to 3.
Sir?
1 to 3.
1 to 3.
1 to 3.
1 to 3 oil and gas representatives, and there has to be two members at large. That is specified in the...
1 or 3? Does it matter?
So if you'd only put 1 oil and gas on there, there's 3 people. 2 of them can't even have a cup of coffee together. That's a quorum.
Yes.
I think there's some things that need to be done in this area, but I'm not sure the legislation was properly done. By what I've read, there's some loopholes there,
Can
but it might be a good idea.
can we wait till next week and discuss a little bit with Sergio, or?
Well, I'll put the name of Mr. Lupe Gonzalez. He's a former superintendent of schools in Mission.
Okay.
So what are we going to do?
On it?
Do I want it? Okay.
It's my appointment then.
Barnes.
Okay?
Barnes.
Mr. Barnes,
I'm gonna wait till next year, next week.
and I think you're gonna have to appoint someone with a.
Oil and gas now.
Oil and gas background.
Okay.
They got a gas station.
Gas station, yeah. Yeah, we'll get together with Sergio. I'll get Raul and together with you.
All right, sir.
So we'll have those two appointments, and then we'll bring an item back to court once we
right.
get the other
We'll have-
nominations.
We'll have a name for next week.
Are we going to vote on those two?
Can we vote on the two?
Yeah, let's go ahead and act on it. On the appointments of Lupe Gonzalez from Mission and Mr. Jim Barnes from Mission.
Move for approval.
Second?
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 20C1 is approval of 2014 appropriation of funds to fund PO rollovers. These are on special purpose funds and also the grant funds. The total amount of the appropriation is $1,990,988.44. These are POs that still had funds available in 2013, and we're appropriating the monies in 2014 to fund those POs. These are for the grants and the forfeiture funds and these other type of special purpose funds. The amount again was $1,990,988.44.
Approval?
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you, Judge Commissioners.
Thank you, sir. Marty, our purchasing department?
Yes, sir. Martha Salazar to the Purchasing Department, 21A, 1A and B, no action is being requested at this time. Item 2, we're requesting acceptance of the scoring grid for the proposals received for the purpose of ranking by Commissioners Court in response to the county's RFP for placement, housing, and supervision of inmates. We had two submitters, LCS, and we had Emerald Detention Facilities. I am going to tell you that the score for LCS, you have it in your backup, is 94.6. Emerald is at 84. Emerald, though I have been informed that Emerald is in Louisiana, and it does not meet, at this point, has not been certified by Texas jail standards. I would inform the court that even though they're going to be ranked in the order of their scores, number 2 would not be a viable candidate to go to. The Sheriff's Department realizes this. If we cannot get a contract with the number 1, we will have to procure this again. Number 2 does not meet.
You're looking at A2, Marty?
2A.
2A.
Right.
2A.
Your two candidates are LCS at 94.6 and Emerald at
Well, if
84.
Emerald doesn't qualify, why even include it in there?
Because at the time that they were being graded, it was an assumption by the graders that if they received their certification, they would be a viable second, but they can't. They did not meet it at the time they were being scored.
So what's going to happen if you can't negotiate with the first one? You got to go out for bid?
As I just told you, yes, we would have to
Gotta
go
go
out
bid.
again.
All right,
Marty,
let's
but
go
can't
ahead
you
and do that.
disqualify him now and call
Yeah.
it a sole source?
That's,
Okay.
well,
Let's act on
I
that
don't know
first.
that it's a sole source. I'd like to negotiate something with them there first.
With the
Number
first
2?
one?
No, but I don't
Number
know.
1.
No, what I'm saying is number 2 doesn't qualify.
Correct.
Can you disqualify him now and
But
just call it
they're
a sole source?
submitted, if we can't negotiate something, and the sheriff's office is aware of this, we're going to be very aggressive in our negotiations. So at this point,
So if you can't negotiate, then you'll bring it back, or what?
yes, but we may be able to.
Okay.
At this point, this is what needs to happen, because this is the
What's
protocol.
the name of that first one?
LCS,
LCS.
Correctional
Number 1,
Facilities.
LCS?
LCS has a score of 94.6.
94.6.
Okay, move for approval?
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And
What-
item
Marty,
B is
did-
requesting authority to proceed to commence
Did you take a
negotiations.
no action on A1?
Yeah. No action,
No action on that one?
A1 and B, A and B,
A and B.
both. A1, A and B, lowercase. No action on both.
What was number 2 you said on the,
Number 2, it would be LCS and Emerald. At this point, though, I'm informing you, Emerald would not qualify. So it would be to commence, you did name LCS as number 1. Item B is, and I think you already took action on that. Item B would be requesting that we commence negotiations with that number 1,
move for approval?
LCS.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 3, this is acceptance of proposal submitted by RL Abatement in the amount of $6,900 through county's participation with the TIPS TAPS contract. That's a co-op for asbestos abatement services for the old administration building in areas with same ACM as previously identified in the original Rabakisna survey. Although the area that we're now having abated was continuously occupied out of necessity and urgency because we had no space for judicial courts, now that it is vacant, we must remove that abatement. And we must abate that material.
Marty, there's no purchase requisition in
No,
place? or-
upon approval of this, a
You will get one?
requisition will be submitted as I responded.
All right.
I need action, please.
Move for approval?
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
We're bringing to you the final requirements and scope of services for real estate broker services project. Everyone has had some input, and we have received some comments. Those have been incorporated, and this is here for your approval, so we can now proceed to release and publish this ad and the packet.
Are we going to limit ourselves to one Realtor?
It's going to be one, we always leave it open to one or more, just depending on what we receive and how they look. But we always have that caveat for ourselves, that we may award to one or more than one. It's whatever is in our best interest to do so.
All right?
Need action?
Yes.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item B, facilities management. This is acceptance and approval to award a proposal received, that's fine, by CAS companies in the amount of $40,358.35. And this is through our co-op also, for the provision of labor to include materials, but not limited to other appurtenances as may be needed for the installation of HEPA evacuation system filters to the autopsy facility. I know the comments that were made earlier. Let me explain to you that a HEPA extraction system is to extract any airborne contaminants from deceased bodies, from corpses. They must be contained. This is pursuant not only to the health and safety code, but it is being also confirmed and requested by our contracted pathologist. This is not a filtration system. This is going to be very similar to what is required at the health department for any tuberculosis or airborne contaminants that would be dealt with in that case, human beings, that you have to have a filtration system, an evac system for those types of contaminants. And so it is necessary.
We had a concern with funding, but in Sergio said.
DBM
an
has
emergency
addressed
transfer.
it. Yes, sir. We'll be addressing it if they haven't by now. This is necessary. It is not something that we can do without.
All right. Ms. Townsend, did you have some comment?
My question was A1 and A and B. What is the difference between construction change directive number 2 and a change order?
A construction change directive is something that is on site and is immediately found, let's say by the general contractor, advises the construction manager and the architect of its immediate need to be addressed. That is usually funded through a betterment allowance or monies within the contract, but must be addressed because it creates a work stoppage. A change order is scope of work that may be found on site that was unknown, unseen, and requires additional work from the original construction.
Thanks.
Marty, I'd like for maybe the next meeting, when you do bring that up, to also look at how much this delay has cost us in penalties.
To date,
Yes.
not, but yes, I believe you're going to be having a meeting, and I think that will
Yes.
clarify that issue.
All right.
Right now, it has not had an adverse effect, but yes, it could. But I think it's something you'll be addressing. That's why we're taking no
Well,
action.
I understand that Mr. Wilson believes that there has. and
Certainly,
That's where it's headed.
and there's a lot of components to that, but I think that needs to be addressed at a meeting before, that's why exactly why we're not bringing
All
it back. There was a request within the change order that was requesting additional days, and I think those issues will be better clarified.
You need action on B.
I certainly do, yes.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item C1, this is Constable Precinct 1, acceptance and approval to increase original PO as stated with Holtermont, and this is in the amount of $7,720.13 for change requested as outlined in the summary of change order number 5, including but not limited to electric transformer and extension of time to complete original punch list. This is being submitted and recommended by the project architect.
We good with that, Valde?
It is necessary.
Move
Yes,
for
I'm
approval.
sorry. Yes, sir.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item D1, Precinct 3, presentation of sole bid received, and this is for mortgage collection at Los Ebanos Pavilion, and I believe this is with, I apologize. Sergio, would you help me out, and who's that contract with? I didn't bring my iPad, I left it at my desk. Just look at the contract and tell you who it's with. Yes. Can we get right back to that? Can I go on to item 2? Well, he gives me the name, I just
Yeah,
went for the
go
record.
ahead, go ahead.
Item 2 is pursuant to contract with LNG, Article 14, a request and an approval by engineer to permit the subcontract of Amatera Environmental Incorporated in connection with Mile 3.
Move for approval.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And going back to item, the first item, it's Allied Waste. I apologize, I didn't have that ready for you. And I need approval.
Move for approval.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
The next item will be taken up by Mr. Guerra, based on the protocol that was established a couple of weeks ago.
Thank you, Marty. Item E, accept and approve final negotiated professional appraisal services agreement with George Jaime Salazar II, DBA Appraisal, Haas, for job-specific project. It is appraisal services for Brewster Park at Precinct 4, as approved for negotiations by Commissioners Court on February 11th of this year.
Second.
Not Marty.
It was done.
No, it was not Marty.
No. And it was reviewed by Mr. Cecine, also for the precinct,
Yes.
on any proposed
Those in
negotiations.
favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item for the Sheriff's Department, and this is under F1, presentation of the responsible lowest best bid received as detailed for, and this is for DNA testing lab services. And this is 7 packets were sent out, 2 bids were received. We are awarding, as our bid packet indicated, to the overall low bidder, Cellmark Forensics out of Dallas, Texas.
Move for approval.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you, that is all I have.
Thank you, ma'am. This time pursuant to 551, 071, and 072 of the Texas Government Code, need a motion to proceed to executive session.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. We'll be in executive session.
I'm sorry. I've been told not to do that. I apologize. Under open session, Judge Commissioners, item A, real estate acquisition. There's no action to be taken today. B, pending and/or potential litigation. There's no action to be taken today. Item C, Dora D. Rodriguez versus Elizabeth Mendoza, Albert Garza, and Deputy Constable Raul A. Salinas Jr. et al. Judge Commissioners, for the record, I want to state that this item will be facilitated through Ms. Josephine Ramirez's office. And out of an abundance of caution, if I could have motion for the record.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And item D, civil action number 714-CV-00067, Santos Rodriguez Jr. et al. Versus Hidalgo County Sheriffs et al., City of Mission et al., and other unknown persons. Judge Commissioners, I want to refer back to item 7A1 and 2. Item 7A1, requesting exemption from the competitive bidding requirements under Texas Local Government Code, Section 26202-484, professional service, for the provision of legal services representation in connection with litigation. If I could have a motion to that effect.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And item 7A2, requesting engagement with the firm of Mike Lee for the provision of legal services representation in connection with litigation and authority to submit a letter of engagement.
What was the name of them, Mike?
Mike Lee.
Okay.
Move for
you.
approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And item E, under open session, Dyer versus Hidalgo County will proceed as directed, Judge Commissioners. And item F, Oscar Reyna versus County of Hidalgo, Judge Commissioners. We've reached a tentative agreement, and so I'm asking the court to consider in settlement of Oscar Reyna versus the County of Hidalgo in the amount of $21,000.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Judge Commissioners, I have no further items.
Need a motion to adjourn?
For approval.
Those in favor, say aye. Aye, motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen.